They're saying the only reason the stock market's good is that the polls are showing that I'm going to win the election, and that if I win the election, the stock market's going to go up, and if I lose the election, you might end up with 1929 stuff again.
Failed former President Donald Trump is issuing another ominous warning to Jewish Americans and taking credit for the extraordinary stock market performance that happens to have taken place while Joe Biden has been president. As you all know, I don't like playing politics or injecting politics where they don't belong. Much about stock market performance doesn't directly relate to who is president, but a little bit of it does. And as we know, stock market performance is overall better when there's a Democrat in the White House than a Republican. We'll get to those numbers in a moment. Here is Donald Trump with no option at this point but to acknowledge that the stock market is doing well, says it's thanks to the expectation that he'll be president. But before we get to that, check this out. Wayne Allyn Root is the interviewer on Real America's Voice. Wayne has been a guest on this program many times. Check out my interviews with him. They're pretty whacked. Wayne Allyn Root asks about abortion. Somehow, within 90 seconds, Trump is warning Jews in response to a question about abortion. How Trump manages to do these non sequiturs, I don't know, but he does manage to do it. Listen to this.
I am pro-life. I'm 100% pro-life. But the issue has killed the Republican Party for 30 years. And it killed us in the midterms. And you just took it off the table. You're brilliant. This is the perfect answer. It is not a political issue. It is not a political football. It belongs with the states. It belongs with the people. And you supported what the Supreme Court just did.
Now, by the way, I totally disagree with Wayne Allyn Root. In fact, again, as I said, if Arizona voters see they've gone back to an 1864 law and it's in force thanks to Trump's elections to the Supreme Court, which overturned Roe v. Wade, it is very much a political issue. But we'll pause on that.
It is not a federal issue. Brilliant.
Well, I appreciate that. The Supreme Court had the courage to give it back to the states. All legal scholars on both sides of this issue, controversial, they all agree that it should be back with the states, and that's what happened. And some states are taking conservative views, and some are less than conservative. But it's back with the states. It's back with the people. And that's where it should have been a long time ago. And what the Democrats are trying to do is demagogue and do as much as they can to talk about this issue so they don't have to talk about the border and the millions of people that are coming in. And
so now watch his transition to Jews. This is wild.
And from prisons and from mental institutions and terrorists and all these people, drug dealers that are pouring into our country with the death and everything else they bring. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the attack of October 7th on Israel because Biden is no fan of Israel. Any Jewish person that votes for Biden does not love Israel, and frankly, it should be spoken to. How a Jewish person can vote for Biden or a Democrat, because they are on the side 100% of the Palestinians, and he doesn't know how to get out of it. He's stuck.
So Trump, once again, any Jewish person who is voting for Biden needs to be talked to. And this is the continued campaign from Trump to sound the warning to Jews. You'd better not vote Biden or you're going to have a problem. And how Trump gets to that from the issue of abortion, my goodness, it is stunning, the non sequiturs. Then we get to the stock market. At this point, there is simply no way around it. The stock market has been performing really well under President Joe Biden. Is it because of Biden or not? Well, we can debate that. But certainly the 1929-style depression and crash that Donald Trump predicted would take place if Biden became president has failed to materialize. With no choice but to acknowledge the performance, Trump is now simply taking credit for it and saying because of the expectation that he will win in November, the stock market has been performing well, apparently for years. A really strange pill to swallow.
The only thing that's doing well is the stock market, and the smartest guys are saying, there are a lot of smart guys at this stuff. They're saying the only reason the stock market's good is that the polls are showing that I'm going to win the election. And that if I win the election, the stock market's going to go up. And if I lose the election, you might end up with 1929 stuff again.
Now, remember that in 2020, Trump predicted a 1929 style depression if Biden won. Instead, we've seen record stock market performance with all-time high after all-time high after all-time high. Trump is making the exact same prediction. Well, this time, if Biden wins, you'll really see the 1929 style depression. And of course, those who are constantly predicting depressions, recessions, and downturns, eventually they'll be right because we have an economy that works in a cyclical nature. But the most important takeaway here is there is no evidence of the fear mongering about Democrats in the Oval Office with the stock market being based in fact. Remember the truth about the stock market and political party. Here's a chart from the Motley Fool. On average, the stock market return of the S&P 500 when there's a Democrat in the Oval Office is 11.4%. And the average annual return when there is a Republican in the Oval Office is 7%. So the returns are roughly 50% greater, even more than that, more like 60% greater when it is a Democrat in the Oval Office. Now, if you want to really talk about, is that coincidence? Is it policy? Is it based on some other factor? We can do that. But needless to say, we don't have disastrous stock market performance when Democrats are in the Oval Office. In fact, we tend to have better stock market performance. So Trump has nothing left at this point in time. He has nothing left but to lie and to fearmonger and to threaten people. And that's what he's doing. Wayne Allyn Root is welcoming it with open arms. He loves it. This is all they've got left. We just have a few months to go. And if we can avoid a Trump win, I am cautiously optimistic that we can be done with Trump. Maybe not done with Trumpism, maybe not totally done with MAGA, but we can at least be done with Trump for life. That'll be it. That's my hope. Call me naive. I've had such trouble finding a great razor where I am not cutting myself or getting those nicks on my skin, which are so common with the cheap disposable razors. You have to meet our sponsor, Henson Shaving. Henson actually manufactures parts for the International Space Station and the Mars rover, and they are bringing that exact same precision engineering to the shaving experience. It hurts when you shave because blades extend too far and thus they wobble slightly. But with their aerospace grade CNC machines, Henson is able to make metal razors that extend just 0.0013 inches. That's less than the thickness of a human hair, which means a secure, stable blade with a vibration-free shave. It also has built-in channels to evacuate the hair and the cream. No more clogs, no more rubbing your thumb on the razor to get the hair out. I use Henson at home. Shaving is a great experience now. Henson wants to be the best razor, not the best razor business, which means you only need to buy it once and it's awesome. Go to hensonshaving.com/Pacman, add a razor and a 100-pack of blades to your cart, then enter the code Pacman to get the 100 blades for free. That is a 3-year supply. The link is down below.